Yum, yum!
Greg here from Pixel Fondue. I am going to create a volumetric light in Octane for MODO. I am using Octane 4.0 in this particular video, and this happy little scanned frog guy is from Sketchfab. It is from somebody named Vodzurg, Vodzurg, who uploaded it. Of course, Sketchfab is great for grabbing some models just to play with and little scenes like this to learn new tricks, and you just make sure you credit the person who uploaded it. And so I'm crediting Vodzurg for this new, I don't know, garden deity I will be worshipping. Alright, so let's get down to business. We need an area light. Now, there's a number of different emitters you can use. I'm going to start off with an area light because that's sort of the easiest thing you can do because they just sort of work automatically in Octane for MODO, at least in 4.0. So here's my area light added to the scene. If I pull it in front of the frog here, you'll see that it's lighting it up. I'm going to just put this above the frog. Whoops. I think above the frog because I want to light the frog like it's somewhat creepy and evil, because why not, right? Of course, all frogs are kind of creepy and evil, aren't they? I'm going to crank up this radiance really high to like 300. Oh, like that. And in order to get volumetric lights or rays, God rays, so to speak, in Octane, you need a medium. Just like in the real world where you need fog, like water vapor or dust or smoke. If you live in Northern California like me, that'll work. We need some sort of medium in the air, and to do that we need to create a volume for that medium to be in, and the way you do that is you just create some geometry. I'm just going to make a shift-click a cube here to make a new cube, and press 3 to go to polygon mode, and R to scale, make that big, and then close my frog there with this volume, and this will be our volume, right? So I'm going to add, well, just cube is fine, we'll just call it cube. Add it to the schematic, make sure your graph connections are showing here. And I need to add a couple more nodes. Going to add a VDB voxel node. That's just down here in Volumetric, or you can type in VDB, voxel node right there. And this is going to voxelize this cube into a volume. So now this cube has been voxelized. I can actually hide the cube, don't need that there. And I want one more node, and it's just going to be the volume node right here. You can type in volume. And this standard MODO volume node is actually visible, or at least somewhat visible, to Octane. So not every channel will be. Plug in the voxel source right there, but many of them, or several of them at least, will be. Now, these volume channels over here, if you look under volume shading, these are not gonna, even though they're useful in MODO, they're not gonna give us anything in Octane for MODO. But if you right click on the volume up here in the item list and do shade and add an item mask, Octane is gonna ask you to refresh. And you look at the material here on the third tab down, material arrays, you'll see some volumetric channels. These are actually going to be useful for us. So I'm going to refresh Octane. It's going to take into account this new geometry in the setup right here. And it's going to put our frog god in a very thick fog. But you can see the volumetric light working already, right? It's scattering through this diffused medium. And there's some channels we can work with here, like scattering amount and density, that are going to help us. So if I lower scattering amount, we're going to get less scattering. So I put down to 15%. There's less scattering throughout this volume. Make it a little bit denser light at the top. If you can knock down density, you'll see again a little bit of a muted effect there. We'll see more of our frog. If I put density way down to like 0.1 or something, you see our frog there entirely, and just a little bit of a sort of a god ray there. So that's sort of how it works. Now I can, blast up my my radiance here on my area light. If I turn that down to 1, not so much, 1000, a lot, right? And I can adjust the size of it as well. So these are some things. Whoops, let me just click height and width and press C for channel hall and shrink it down. These are some things. That's how it works, right? That's how area lights, or I'm sorry, volumetric lights in Octane work. And you don't have to use an area light. You can use any sort of emitter. Here, I'm just putting it behind our frog to give it a bit of a halo. Yeah, you want to worship this guy. You know what he's going to do for you. I can increase the scattering here a bit to give a little more of a... You can see actually the entire area light right there behind him. Maybe I should tuck it behind his head a little more. Okay, so yeah, that's the basics, and we can move on it a little bit more. Whoops, material raise of my volume. Material raise, yeah, this one. up my scattering maybe a little bit, and just look through the front here. Yeah, so like tuck this guy behind a little bit. So, all right, that's an area light, but you can also use any sort of geometry that's emissive, I believe. So if I just do something, I'm going to pause Octane real quick and create something like a, I don't know, we'll just create a new mesh, empty mesh item here, and I'm just going to make a little cylinder by control clicking my cylinder here. I just want that, so select the top polygon, left bracket to invert the selection, delete that, and then you can center this if you want to. I typically use this sweet center pie menu there. Okay, let's give this a material. We'll call it circle light. Why not? Sounds good. And I'm going to, I don't know, make sure I'm in item mode actually, and put this guy off to the side like this, and look over here in our shading, we have circle light. And for the material, let's go 0. So Octane will do a sort of a basic material conversion for us, and it'll actually understand luminosity and things like that. We just reset Octane here. And there you have it. And it should be, let me hide the area light. I should be able to get emissive properties from this guy, but I'll probably have to crank up the luminosity quite a bit. So I'm just going to go down to my Octane tab and add an Octane override so I can get to the texture emission properties down here and turn the power up to like 500. And yeah, you can see we're getting a volume light here now as well. So I'm going to make this guy quite a bit smaller and move him off to stage left and reset my Octane here. So I did a polygon change or a polygon adjustment there. You can also, if you don't want to do all the resetting, you can always, with your mesh selected, go to Octane Live Geometry Update and check that if you want to. Anyway, so there we have a volumetric light coming in from the side. Whoops, drop my tool here, make this 5,000 maybe. Ooh. And yeah, there you go. So that's volumetric lights within Octane. So in Octane 2018, they have a new thing called Spectron, if you look at their videos, which is sort of a built-in super fast volumetric light item, and it should eliminate the need to have to go through all this crap to sort of make volumetric lights, which will be great. So Spectron, I'm only guessing, is the second cousin to Megatron, or maybe Assaultron, I don't know, but this will get you over, or tide you over, hopefully until Octane 2018 is here, and I will be providing many sacrifices to that golden frog in the meantime. Thank you.
Yum, yum!